If you don't master your emotions, they will master you. You will react instead of respond. You will spiral when life demands strength. You will destroy relationships, opportunities, and peace. Not because you're weak, but because you're undisciplined inside. This is not a book about feeling better. This is a blueprint for becoming better. You will learn how to stay calm in chaos, unshakable under pressure, and in control no matter what life throws at you. Because once you own your emotions, you own your life. Chapter 1. Stop worshipping your feelings. You've been told your whole life to follow your heart, to trust your gut, to listen to your feelings. And look where that's gotten most people: confused, reactive, unstable, and constantly chasing moods they can't control. Let's get one thing straight from the start. Feelings are signals, not facts. If you treat them as truth, they will own you. You can't master your emotions if you worship them. You can't build discipline if you bow to how you feel. And you can't create peace if you chase comfort every time life gets hard. That's the key. The modern lie. Modern culture has sold you a dangerous lie. Follow your feelings. Do what feels right. Trust your emotions. They know the way. No, they don't. Your emotions react. They don't lead. Your emotions serve your values. They don't set them. When you make feelings the captain of your life, you hand over the steering wheel to the most unstable part of you. And what happens next? You overreact. You quit too early. You say things you don't mean. You destroy opportunities because your emotions told you, "I don't feel like it today." You don't need to feel like it to do it. You need discipline. It's not about motivation. It's about movement. It's not about feeling ready. It's about choosing steady. That's the key. Feelings are data, not destiny. Emotions aren't the enemy. They're information. They're messages from the body and mind saying, "Hey, something's happening. Pay attention." That's it. They're data points. When you treat emotions as facts, you become reactive. When you treat emotions as data, you become strategic. Say you feel angry. The weak mind asks, "What should I say?" The strong mind asks, "Why am I angry? What is this emotion trying to teach me?" Say you feel anxious. The undisciplined mind panics. The disciplined mind analyzes, "What uncertainty triggered this? What action can I take to ground myself?" You see the difference? One reacts, the other reflects. The first gets controlled by emotion. The second controls emotion through awareness. That's emotional mastery. That's strength. You have a choice. The trap of emotional obedience. Most people don't realize they've been trained to obey their emotions. You feel tired, so you stop. You feel offended, so you attack. You feel bored, so you distract. You feel scared, so you run. But let me ask you this. Who's in charge? You or the feeling? If your behavior changes every time a feeling changes, you are not free. You are enslaved by your emotions. Freedom is not the absence of emotion. It's the ability to act despite emotion. That's the difference between those who talk about control and those who live it. The emotionally strong person feels fear but walks forward anyway. The emotionally weak person feels fear and freezes. The strong person feels anger but pauses, breathes, and responds with clarity. The weak one explodes, blames, and regrets it later. You don't need their permission to feel strong. You need your own permission to act strong. That's the key, the 3-second discipline. Here's a real-world tool to start taking back control. The 3-second discipline. It's simple. When a strong emotion hits, anger, fear, frustration, sadness, pause for 3 seconds. In those 3 seconds, you are no longer reacting. You are deciding. Ask yourself 3 questions. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? What action serves me best right now? That's it. 3 seconds. 3 questions. Infinite power. You just took control of the emotional steering wheel. Because here's the truth. Your emotions are supposed to inform you, not instruct you. They tell you something's wrong, but they don't tell you what to do next. That's your job. You have a choice. Always. The illusion of authenticity. You'll hear people say, "But I just want to be authentic." They think reacting emotionally is being real. No, it's being unregulated. And unregulated people destroy the very things they claim to care about. Being authentic doesn't mean being impulsive. Being authentic means aligning your emotions with your values. It means expressing emotion through control, not chaos. Discipline is authenticity with direction. Anyone can scream. Anyone can vent. But it takes strength to pause, to breathe, and to respond from character, not chaos. That's the key. Emotional strength is built, not found. You weren't born calm, you train calm. You weren't born disciplined, you build discipline. And the gym for that training is your daily emotional life. Every time you feel irritated and choose patience, you're getting stronger. Every time you feel anxious and choose action, you're getting stronger. Every time you feel lazy and still do the work, you're not betraying your emotions, you're mastering them. It's not about denying feelings, it's about directing them. It's not about rejection, it's about redirection. You train your emotions the same way you train your muscles, repetition under resistance. That's emotional weightlifting. Real-world application. Try this today. When you feel a strong emotion, say out loud, "This is a signal, not a command." Write down what the emotion is trying to tell you. Choose one action aligned with your principles, not your mood. For example, if you feel angry, don't post, don't shout, don't text, go walk. Cool off, then decide. If you feel sad, don't isolate, connect, serve, move your body. If you feel anxious, don't avoid. Take a micro step toward the fear. If you feel lazy, don't negotiate. Start the task for 5 minutes. You don't wait for emotional permission. You move with internal conviction. That's self-command. You have a choice. Every single time. The reframe. From now on, stop saying "I feel like," as if that determines your action. Start saying "I choose to." I feel tired becomes "I choose to show up anyway." I feel scared becomes "I choose courage." I feel unmotivated becomes "I choose discipline." That's how you reclaim power. That's how you take back control. Because emotions are guests. You are the homeowner. You decide who stays. That's the key. You've learned to stop worshiping your feelings. You've learned that emotion is data, not destiny. Now it's time to deal with the next trap that kills progress. Overthinking. Because once you stop reacting, the mind tries a new trick. It traps you in endless analysis. You mastered emotion. Now master your mind. Chapter 2. Overthinking is emotional paralysis. You think you're solving the problem by thinking more, but you're just feeding fear. Let's be clear. Overthinking is not intelligence. Overthinking is not strategy. Overthinking is emotional avoidance dressed up as logic. And the longer you do it, the more stuck you stay. Overthinking feels productive. It feels like you're preparing. It feels like you're protecting yourself from mistakes, embarrassment, or regret. But here's the truth. You're not preparing. You're procrastinating. You're not gaining clarity. You're creating confusion. You're not finding answers. You're fueling anxiety. Overthinking is emotional paralysis. It's fear wearing a suit and tie. It's cowardice pretending to be caution. It's your mind building a prison, with you inside it. Emotionally weak minds loop thoughts. Emotionally strong minds take action. That's the key. If you want to win, if you want to grow, if you want to master your emotions, you must learn to interrupt the loop. Overthinking is a loop. It's a feedback cycle. You feel unsure. You think more. You feel worse. You think even more. Now you're exhausted and still stuck. That's not control. That's mental chaos on repeat. But here's the power you forgot you have. You have a choice. You can interrupt the loop. You can choose a different path. You can train your mind to act, even when it's screaming for certainty. The 3-decision rule. You don't need more clarity. You need more courage. Here's the tool. Feel, filter, move. Repeat that out loud. Feel, filter, move. That's the rule. That's the practice. That's the path out of paralysis. Let's break it down. 1. Feel. You feel fear. You feel pressure. You feel uncertain. That's normal. Your emotions show up. Don't run from them, but don't surrender to them either. You feel them. You name them. You face them. 2. Filter. You ask, is this feeling helpful? Is this fear real or imagined? You filter the noise. You don't believe every thought. You ask, is this my intuition or just anxiety pretending to be wisdom? You don't react. You filter. 3rd move. You act. You take the next best step. Not the perfect step. The next one. You move forward, even with trembling hands. You don't dwell. You don't delay. You don't doubt. That's the discipline. That's emotional strength. That's leadership from the inside out. Analysis. Why you loop. Most people overthink because they're addicted to control. They believe if they can analyze every variable, they can avoid pain. But life doesn't work like that. You can't control outcomes. You can only control your input, your mindset, your choices, your actions. Overthinking is often your ego trying to play God, trying to predict everything, trying to avoid all discomfort, trying to make life safe. But here's the truth you must accept. You will never feel fully ready. You will never have 100% certainty. You will never eliminate risk. And that's okay, because courage isn't the absence of uncertainty. It's the mastery of action in the presence of uncertainty. That's the key. Behavioral instruction. What to do instead. So what do you do when your mind starts spiraling? Step 1. Notice the loop. Catch it early. When you feel that familiar tension in your chest, pause. When your thoughts start repeating the same scenario, pause. Say out loud, I'm looping. I choose to move. Step 2. Do something physical. Get out of your head and into your body. Take a cold shower. Go on a walk. Do push-ups. Interrupt the thought with motion. Step 3. Ask a simple forward-moving question. What's one small action I can take right now? Not later, not tomorrow, right now. Call the person, send the message. Write the first sentence, take the next breath. You don't need to finish the whole race, you just need to take the next step. The reframe, from thinker to doer. Start identifying as a mover, not a thinker. Say it. I don't loop, I lead. Every time you take fast, focused action, you retrain your brain to trust you. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. You don't have to wait. You just have to move. That's the discipline. That's emotional mastery. That's how you stop being ruled by fear disguised as thinking. Remember, overthinking is a form of self-sabotage. It's the mind's way of avoiding responsibility. But you're not here to stay safe. You're here to grow. You're here to build resilience. You're here to act, not endlessly analyze. Feel, filter, move. That's your new operating system. You have a choice. That's the key. And you don't need their permission to stop thinking and start leading. You've trained your calm. You've built the internal muscle that keeps you grounded. But now it's time to face the deeper truth hiding underneath your reactions. Your triggers. The things that set you off are the things that reveal what you haven't healed. And that's where we go next. Chapter 3. Calm is a superpower, and it's trained. Calm isn't something you're born with. It's not a gift. It's not personality. It's a skill. A muscle. And like any muscle, it only grows under pressure. Every time life pushes you, you have a decision. Will I rise with the chaos or return to calm? That's the choice. That's the key. Because here's the truth most people never hear. Calm is a superpower. And you build it. You train it. You own it. The world is built to break your calm. You wake up and the noise starts immediately. The phone, the notifications, the news, the emails. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Your partner says something sideways. Your coworker drops the ball. Your kid starts screaming. And with every trigger, the world dares you. Lose it. Snap. React. But here's what separates the strong from the average. Strong people don't give away their power. They don't flinch every time something goes wrong. They don't need external conditions to feel internal control. Because calm isn't external. Calm is earned on the inside. It's not about silence around you. It's about silence within you. That's the key. Calm is not weakness. It's mastery. Let's clear this up right now. Calm is not weakness. It's not passivity. It's not avoidance. It's mastery over self. It takes zero strength to lose your temper. It takes zero strength to snap under pressure. But it takes massive strength to pause, breathe, and respond with purpose. Anyone can be loud. Anyone can be reactive. It takes power to stay composed. It takes discipline to stay grounded. You don't need their permission to stay calm. You just need your decision. Calm is built in the small moments. You want to train calm? Start small. Don't wait for the big crisis. Start in traffic. Start when the Wi-Fi cuts out. Start when someone talks over you. Micro-discipline. Tiny moments where the average person snaps. You pause. You breathe. You stay in control. This is your emotional gym. Calm isn't built in retreats or vacations. It's built in rush hour, in awkward conversations, in setbacks, in everyday chaos. That's how you train. That's the real work. Train your nervous system, not just your mind. This isn't just about thoughts. It's about your nervous system. Because when stress hits, your body reacts first. Heart races, palms sweat, breath shortens. And if you don't train your nervous system, your mind won't even get the chance to respond. So here's the protocol. 1. Breathe low and slow. In through the nose, out through the mouth. 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out. Slows your heart, signals safety, reclaims control. 2. Relax your jaw. Drop your shoulders. This tells your brain, we're safe, we're grounded. 3. Say this out loud. I don't rise with the chaos. I return to calm. Not once. 10 times. Over and over. Until your body believes you. This isn't theory. This is nervous system conditioning. This is biological dominance. You are literally rewriting your stress response. And that's the key to real strength. Calm helps you think, decide, and lead. Let me be clear. Calm isn't just nice to have. It's essential for leadership, clarity, and performance. You can't lead when you're reactive. You can't think when your brain's hijacked by cortisol. You can't make good decisions when you're emotionally flooded. Calm is your edge. Calm is your clarity. Calm is your leverage in every room you walk into. People trust the one who stays calm when everyone else panics. Be that person. Train for it. Every day. Real-world drills to build calm. Here are 5 simple but powerful ways to build your calm muscle. 1. Cold exposure, cold showers, ice baths. Learn to relax under stress. Breathe through the discomfort. If you can stay calm in cold, you can stay calm in conflict. 2. Daily silence. Sit still. No phone, no music. Just you, your breath, and your thoughts. If you can't sit with yourself, how can you lead others? 3. Delay the reaction. When something triggers you, wait 10 seconds before responding. You'll be shocked how much power you gain just from pausing. 4. Anchor phrases. Repeat this when tension rises. I don't react. I respond. I stay calm. I stay sharp. Repeat it until it becomes automatic. 5. Physical posture. Stand tall, shoulders back, eyes steady. Your body leads your emotions. Train it to lead with calm. Remember, every rep builds the muscle. Every moment is training. No wasted reps. The calm identity. Start identifying as someone who stays calm. Say it with me. I am the calm in the storm. I am not controlled. I am in control. I don't need calm conditions. I create calm. That's the shift. That's the standard. That's how you stop being emotional cargo on someone else's ship and start captaining your own. It's not about reaction. It's about regulation. It's not about perfection. It's about practice. You have a choice. That's the key. Final reinforcement. Never forget this. Calm is not a luxury. It's not an aesthetic. It's a weapon. It helps you make better decisions. It helps you de-escalate situations. It helps you lead yourself before you lead anyone else. And every time you choose calm over chaos, you grow your power. You don't need to feel calm to act calm. You train the behavior first. The feeling follows. You don't need their permission to be grounded. You just need your own standard. You have a choice. And when you choose calm, you choose strength. You've faced your triggers. You've taken back ownership. But now it's time to train the next layer of emotional mastery. Your words. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing. The undisciplined speak in pain. The strong hold their tongue until wisdom arrives. Chapter 4. Your triggers are your teachers. What sets you off reveals what you haven't faced. What makes you snap shows you what you haven't healed. And what you call a trigger. It's not a flaw. It's a teacher. Your triggers aren't the problem. Your refusal to learn from them is. Here's the truth. The world will never stop pressing your buttons. So your power lies in this. Stop giving the world buttons to press. That's the key. Triggers are mirrors. Every time you overreact, you're being shown something. A wound. A story you've been telling yourself. A belief you picked up years ago. A fear you thought you buried. Triggers are mirrors. They reflect the parts of you that still need attention, discipline, and growth. Someone talks over you, and you explode. That's not just disrespect. That's your unresolved need to feel heard. That's your insecurity yelling, "I don't matter." Someone critiques you, and you spiral. That's not just feedback. That's your identity shaking because it was built on approval. Someone walks away, and your world collapses. That's not just loss. That's your fear of abandonment taking the wheel. But here's the power move. You can turn every emotional trigger into a training session. Every reaction becomes a rep. Every trigger becomes a test. Every pain becomes a pointer to power, if you're willing to look. Stop blaming. Start owning. Weak minds blame the trigger. Strong minds ask, "Why did that hit me so hard?" It's not about the comment. It's about the meaning you gave it. It's not about the situation. It's about the wound it poked. You don't grow by silencing the world. You grow by strengthening your response to it. You have a choice. Always. You can keep avoiding what hurts. Or you can face it, study it, and rise above it. That's the key. Turn your triggers into training. So how do you actually use your triggers to grow? Step 1. Name it. When you feel yourself get activated, stop. Don't justify it. Don't hide it. Just name it. I'm triggered. Something's happening inside me. Step 2. Find the wound. Ask, what did this moment remind me of? What old pain is being reopened? Is this anger really about this moment or about something older? Most triggers are recycled pain. Trace it back. Step 3. Reclaim your power. Say this out loud. This is mine. My reaction. My responsibility. I choose how I respond. Ownership is emotional maturity, and maturity is freedom. You don't need their permission to take responsibility. You just need your standard. Reframe the trigger. Instead of saying, "They made me angry," say, "That showed me where I'm still reactive." Instead of, "She made me feel insecure," say, "That exposed where I need to strengthen my self-worth." Instead of, "He disrespected me," say, "That reminded me of my unhealed need for validation." You can't control their words. You can't control their actions. But you can control the meaning you assign to every single moment. That's the key. Stay present with the pain. Most people don't grow because they run. From discomfort, from the sting, from anything that cracks the illusion of control. But growth doesn't live in the easy. Growth lives in the tension. Next time something hits you hard, don't scroll past it, don't numb it, don't suppress it, sit with it, study it, learn from it, say it again. This is teaching me something. I will not waste this pain. When you face your triggers with discipline, they lose their power. When you avoid them, they gain control over you. You have a choice. Face or flee. Grow or react. Study or repeat. That's the key. Practice daily trigger work. Here's your daily practice. At the end of each day, ask yourself, 1. When did I get emotionally triggered today? What moment threw me off center? 2. What was the real cause? Not the surface one, but the deeper fear or belief. Dig. Be honest. 3. How can I train myself to respond with clarity and strength next time? Visualize it. Rehearse it. This is how warriors are built. Not in comfort, but in conscious discomfort. Not by hiding pain, but by transforming it into discipline. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be intentional. That's the key. Your triggers equals your curriculum. This is your emotional curriculum. Your triggers are the lesson plan. And life will keep giving you the same test until you pass it with grace. You will keep meeting the same kinds of people. Keep hitting the same walls. Keep repeating the same cycles. Until you pause, study, and choose a better response. So the next time life presses your buttons, smile. You're in the gym. Another representative. Another test. Another layer of strength being built. You're not being punished. You're being trained. You don't need their permission to heal. You just need your decision to face what's been controlling you. You have a choice. And that choice rewrites your life. Chapter 5. Don't speak when you're bleeding. Words are weapons. Words are bridges. Words are bombs. And when you're bleeding emotionally, you don't throw bombs. You drop nukes. That's why the strongest people don't speak just to speak. They pause. They breathe. They protect the room from their own bleeding. Because when you speak while wounded, you don't communicate, you contaminate. You don't express, you explode. You don't clarify, you cut. Emotional mastery begins with restraint. And nowhere is that more visible than in the discipline of silence. That's the key. Pain makes you loud, but not clear. Let's be honest. When you're angry, hurt, embarrassed, or triggered, you feel the urge to speak, to defend, to attack, to be heard. But that urge is not truth. It's not clarity. It's adrenaline. Because pain wants power. And in pain, your words become tools of survival, not strategy. That's how relationships get damaged. That's how careers get derailed. That's how reputations get burned down. In a single message, in a single moment. Never send a message in a storm. Never speak when you're bleeding. You don't need their permission to pause. You just need your discipline. When you speak in pain, you weaken your position. Think about it. Have you ever yelled something you regretted? Typed something you wouldn't say face to face? Sent that long message and wished you could take it back? That's not you talking. That's your pain talking. That's your wound trying to win. But here's the hard truth. When you speak from pain, your credibility drops. Your clarity disappears. You give people a reason to dismiss your message because you didn't deliver it with power. You delivered it with panic. It's not about silencing your truth. It's about timing your truth so it lands instead of explodes. And that requires discipline. Pause before you post, text, or talk. The strongest people don't respond immediately. They restrain, they observe, they cool the system before delivering the message. Here's the practice. 1. Wait. 2. Write. 3. Revisit. 4. Respond, or don't. 1. Wait. If you're emotionally activated, set a timer. 10 minutes. 30. A full day. Don't say a word until your nervous system has come down. 2. Write. Write down exactly what you feel. Unfiltered. No audience, no judgment. Get it out. On paper, not on people. 3. Revisit. Come back to it later. Are these still your words? Or were they just your pain in disguise? 4. Respond or don't. Now you get to choose what to say. Not from emotion, but from alignment. That's emotional leadership. That's self-command. That's the key. Silence is a strategy, not a weakness. Weak people equate silence with losing. They think, if I don't speak, I look weak. If you speak without discipline, you reveal weakness. Silence doesn't mean surrender. Silence means you're thinking. It means you're separating emotion from message. It means you're choosing response over reaction. And in a loud world, silence is power. It commands attention. It signals control. It keeps you above the noise while everyone else drowns in it. You don't need to have the last word. You need to have the right word, delivered at the right time. That's the key. Reframe. Hold, then speak with precision. Here's your mantra. I don't speak to release pressure. I speak to create clarity. Repeat that. Tattoo it on your mind. Make it your rule. If you just want to vent, go journal. If you want to connect, choose timing, tone, and truth. Ask yourself before you open your mouth. Do I want to express emotion or create impact? Because those are not always the same. The first is about you. The second is about the outcome. And you don't build powerful relationships by exploding. You build them by communicating with discipline. You don't need to be silent forever. You just need to be silent until the wound becomes wisdom. That's the key. Practice emotional breathing space. Here's a daily drill. The 60-second reset. Next time you feel like saying something sharp, fast, or emotional, stop. Set a timer. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold for 4. Breathe out for 6. Repeat 5 times. Ask. What would the strongest version of me say, or not say, right now? It's not magic. It's mechanical nervous system training. And it works. Every pause is a rep. Every silence is strength. Every time you choose restraint, you become more powerful. Speak from power, not pressure. When you finally do speak, do it from principle, not pain. From truth, not tension. From conviction, not chaos. Your words are too valuable to be wasted in anger. Your energy is too sacred to be spilled in drama. Hold your tongue. Hold your power. Then speak when it serves, not when it stings. Because this isn't about emotional suppression. It's about emotional precision. You have a choice. Every single time. And you don't need their permission to protect your peace. You just need your standard. You've learned to hold your tongue. You've chosen silence over shame, control over chaos. But now it's time to go deeper. Because while you've stopped bleeding on others, there's still internal healing you've been avoiding. Avoidance feels like strength. But real strength is built when you face what you've buried. Chapter 6. You can't outrun emotional immaturity. You can lift weights. You can run marathons. You can build businesses, chase money, and fake confidence on social media. But if you can't handle uncomfortable emotions, if you avoid hard conversations, if you shut down, blow up, or ghost every time something feels too real, you are still emotionally immature. You can't outrun it. You can't outwork it. You can't out-hustle what you haven't healed. That's the key. What is emotional immaturity? It's not about age. It's not about success. It's about how you respond when emotions get uncomfortable. Emotionally immature people avoid accountability, play the victim, attack or withdraw under pressure, blame others for how they feel, say, "I'm just being honest," when they're actually being reckless. Emotionally mature people, they pause, they reflect, they respond, they take ownership. It's not about having emotions, it's about handling them without wrecking everything around you. That's the work. That's the real strength. Avoidance looks like strength until it breaks you. Here's the trap. You think avoiding your emotions makes you tough. You think burying it makes it disappear. But suppressed emotions don't die. They multiply, and they leak. Into your words, into your tone, into your relationships. The anger you bottle up at work, you bring it home. The sadness you avoid in silence, it hardens into numbness. The fear you won't admit, it comes out as control. You can't run from what's inside you. Eventually, you either face it or you become it. You don't need their permission to stop hiding. You just need your decision to stop avoiding. That's the key. Signs you're still emotionally immature. Let's be honest, this isn't about shaming. This is about awareness. You can't fix what you won't face. Here are 5 signs you still have emotional growth work to do. 1. You react instead of respond. You snap when criticized. You shut down when confronted. You blame others instead of owning your triggers. 2. You need constant validation. You base your peace on other people's approval. You collapse when you don't get praise. 3. You ghost, deflect, or distract. Instead of facing the hard truth, you disappear. You keep busy. You scroll. You hide. 4. You expect others to fix your mood. You hand over your emotional thermostat to someone else and punish them when they don't make you feel better. 5. You make emotions everyone else's responsibility. If you're upset, the world must adjust. That's not maturity. That's manipulation dressed as sensitivity. You have a choice. Grow up or stay stuck. And growth starts by facing what you've been fleeing, the work you've been avoiding. So how do you outgrow emotional immaturity? You do the work you've been avoiding. Step 1. Sit with what hurts. Don't scroll. Don't numb. Don't distract. Just sit. 10 minutes. Every day. Let it surface. Let it speak. Let it pass. Step 2. Name your patterns. When do you react? When do you run? What emotions feel unbearable to you? Track them. Journal them. Clarity is the first stage of growth. Step 3. Practice emotional fluency. Stop saying, "I'm fine." Start saying, "I'm frustrated because I'm scared that I'm hurt by." Name it. Frame it. Own it. You can't heal what you won't name. Emotional maturity equals responsibility. Emotionally mature people take full ownership of how they feel, without blaming others, without expecting others to fix it, without using emotions as weapons. You want real power? Stop saying, "You made me feel." Start saying, "I'm feeling this, and I'm choosing how to respond." That's responsibility. That's leadership. That's emotional adulthood. And no, this doesn't mean being emotionless. It means being emotionally responsible. Not perfect, not robotic, just responsible. That's the key. Tools to build emotional maturity. Let's get practical. Here are tools that build emotional muscle. 1. Journaling with radical honesty. Stop writing to sound good. Start writing to reveal what's real. Ask, what emotion am I resisting right now? What am I blaming others for that I should own? 2. Cold exposure. Train your nervous system to stay calm in discomfort, because when your body learns to handle cold, your emotions learn to stay grounded. 3. Difficult conversations. Don't text what you're afraid to say face to face. Have the uncomfortable talk. With respect, with clarity, with control. You don't grow by avoiding tension. You grow by entering it with intention. 4th, stillness practice. Sit in silence for 5 minutes every morning. Let your thoughts rise and pass. Train yourself to feel without reacting. That's emotional weightlifting. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to start training. Emotional maturity is self-leadership. You want to lead others? Start with you. You want better relationships? Stop expecting others to walk on eggshells. Set your emotional standard. Raise it, practice it, protect it. Emotional maturity means this. I'm responsible for my own emotional state. I own it, I regulate it, I manage it. That's the standard. That's the shift. Remember, you can't outrun emotional immaturity. You can only outgrow it. And growth takes work. Daily, deliberate, uncomfortable, unavoidable. But every time you choose to feel instead of flee, every time you respond instead of react, every time you take responsibility instead of blame, you're growing into the strongest version of yourself. You don't need their permission to grow up. You just need your decision to stop running. You have a choice. That's the key. You've stopped running. You've faced what you've been avoiding. Now it's time to step into the behavior that transforms everything. Even on the days when you feel nothing at all. Because motivation is fragile. But discipline? Discipline is what carries you when your emotions don't show up. Chapter 7. Discipline is what you do when you feel nothing. Anyone can act when they feel inspired. Anyone can show up when the energy is high, the mood is right, and the path is clear. But what about when you feel nothing? No motivation, no fire, no drive. That's where 99% of people quit, and that's where the top 1% begin. Discipline is what you do when you feel nothing. Not when it's easy, not when you're excited. When you feel flat, and show up anyway. That's the key. Motivation is a liar. Motivation is fleeting. It's a chemical. It's a moment. It's not a strategy. You can't build a life on emotion. You can't build consistency on a mood. If you only act when you feel like it, your results will always be ruled by randomness. The difference between the successful and the stuck? The successful don't ask, do I feel like it? They ask, what's required of me today? That's discipline. That's the standard. Your brain will try to talk you out of everything. Here's the truth. When you feel low, your brain will lie to you. It'll say, let's skip today. You're tired. You deserve a break. This doesn't matter. And in that moment, you have two choices. Believe the lie or override it with your standard. Discipline isn't about feeling great. It's about acting with purpose regardless of how you feel. You don't need motivation. You need a non-negotiable plan. You don't need inspiration. You need identity. Say it, I'm the kind of person who shows up no matter what. That's the key. Emotional neutral is the true test. Everyone talks about highs and lows, but the real test is what you do when you feel nothing. No urgency, no spark, just silence, just stillness. Can you still execute? Can you still move? Can you still follow through? Because that's where greatness is born. Not in adrenaline, in consistency. The gym doesn't care how you feel. Your goals don't care how you feel. Results don't care how you feel. Only your standards matter. You don't need their permission to be consistent. You just need your own non-negotiables. Shift from mood to mission. Here's the shift. Stop living by emotion. Start living by execution. You're not waiting for the right time. You're becoming the kind of person who creates momentum by moving first. Stop saying, I'll start when I feel ready. I need to get in the zone. I'm just not feeling it today. Start saying, I do it because it's who I am. I don't wait, I move. I keep the promise no matter how I feel. That's power. That's how discipline rewires identity. You're not trying to feel better. You're trying to become stronger. Systems beat feelings. If you want to build real discipline, take feelings out of the equation. Build systems. Design routines. Create structure that doesn't ask for your opinion. Examples. Wake up at the same time. No snooze. No debate. Move your body daily. Doesn't have to be intense, just has to happen. Do your top 3 tasks, even if your brain resists. Set a timer. Do the work. No excuses. Discipline thrives when the system is king. You don't need to be in the mood. You just need to follow the system. Because here's the truth. Discipline is doing the boring work with unshakable consistency. And boring wins. Every single time. Create a discipline identity. Want to make it stick? Tie your actions to your identity. Don't say, like, I'm trying to eat better. Say, I'm the kind of person who eats clean, no matter what. Don't say, I want to work out more. Say, I don't negotiate with workouts. They happen, period. Discipline sticks when it becomes who you are, not what you're trying. Make it personal. Make it automatic. Make it non-negotiable. You don't need to feel it. You need to finish it. Some days you'll feel nothing. No energy, no inspiration, no reason to push. Those are the most important days. Those are the reps that build the strongest version of you. Why? Because every time you act without feeling, you prove to yourself that you're in charge, not your emotions. Say this, I don't need to feel like it. I just need to finish it. That's the real power. Not hype, not energy, execution. You don't need to be extraordinary. You just need to be consistent. You have a choice, and you make it every single day. You've stopped waiting for motivation. You've trained yourself to move, even in silence. That's discipline. That's leadership. That's freedom. But now it's time to turn inward. Because if you don't learn to separate your inner voice from your truth, you'll keep sabotaging yourself from the inside. Your mind isn't always your ally, unless you take control of the voice that lives there. Chapter 8. You're not the voice in your head. That voice in your head? The one that says you're not good enough. The one that whispers you'll fail. The one that tells you to quit before you even try. That's not you. Let's get that clear. You are not the voice in your head. You are the one who hears it. You are the one who can challenge it. You are the one who can override it. That voice is not your identity. It's your conditioning. It's the residue of fear, failure, childhood wounds, societal noise, and past pain. It speaks from memory. You act from mastery. That's the key. That voice has a job, but it's not the boss. The voice in your head exists for one purpose: to protect you. It looks for danger. It scans for risk. It prepares you for the worst. But what keeps you alive doesn't always help you thrive. That voice will say, stay small. Don't embarrass yourself. They'll judge you. Play it safe. It's trying to protect your ego, your energy, your sense of comfort. But comfort doesn't lead to growth. And fear is not a strategy. You don't silence that voice. You lead it. You don't kill the inner critic. You teach it who's in charge. Separate the narrator from the observer. Inside your head are two entities. The narrator, the voice of the past. The observer, the presence of now. The narrator is loud, emotional, dramatic. It's the one that says, you always mess things up. They don't like you. You're not ready. The observer is quiet, steady, grounded. It sees, it notices, it chooses. It's the part of you that pauses and says, wait a second. Is that actually true? You are the observer. You are not the story. You are the author rewriting it. You have a choice. Believe the narration or question it. React to it or reprogram it. That's the key. Challenge the thought. Don't just accept it. Most people suffer not because their thoughts are true, but because they never challenge them. You hear, I'm not smart enough. And you nod in agreement. You think, I'll fail. And you act like it's prophecy. Here's the truth. A thought is just a sentence, a spark, a fragment of energy. It's not a command. It's not a fact. It's not the final word. Start asking, whose voice is this? Is this a pattern or a principle? Does this move me toward my goals or away from them? You are not the noise. You are the filter. That's mental strength. That's emotional intelligence. That's self-command. Rewrite the script in real time. Every time that voice says, you can't, respond with, watch me. Every time it says, you're not ready, say, I'll grow as I go. Every time it says, you're not enough, say, I've got everything I need to take the next step. You don't reason with fear. You replace it with truth. You're not trying to be perfect. You're choosing to be powerful on purpose. That's the key. Tools to train the inner voice. Let's get tactical. Here are 4 tools to rewire your inner dialogue. 1. The interrupt phrase. When your mind spirals, say this out loud. Stop. That's not the truth. I choose the next thought. Interrupt the loop. Every time. 2. Mental reps. Pick a daily phrase and say it 100 times, literally. Examples. I don't need to feel ready. I need to take the next step. I'm calm. I'm focused. I'm in control. This isn't fluff. It's reps. Rewiring happens through repetition. 3. Audio affirmation loop. Record your own voice saying powerful beliefs. Listen while walking, driving, or training. You become what you hear repeatedly, so take control of the message. 4. Inner critic journal. Write down what the voice says, then write a rational response under each line. Turn the critic into a conversation. Eventually, you'll change the script. Identity comes from internal language. Every word you say to yourself is a vote for fear or strength, doubt or belief, weakness or discipline. You want to change who you are? Start by changing what you say to yourself when no one's listening. Don't wait for outside praise. Train inner proof. Every day, say this. I hear the voice, but I don't obey it. I'm not the critic, I'm the commander. I choose the message that drives me forward. That's how you reclaim your mind. That's how you take the wheel back. That's how you break free from your own limitations. You are the one who decides. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who chooses which thoughts to believe. You are not your fear. You are the one who acts anyway. You are not your past. You are the one who writes the next chapter. That's the shift. That's the power. That's the choice you make, over and over again. You don't need their permission to change the story. You just need your willingness to question the voice. You have a choice. That's the key. You've taken back control of your inner world. You've separated truth from noise. And now, it's time to talk about the greatest enemy to emotional control in the modern world. Stimulation. Because if you don't learn to value stillness, structure, and focus, you'll stay addicted to distraction and never build real power. Chapter 9. Seek stability, not stimulation. You're not tired. You're overstimulated. You're not lazy. You're distracted. You're not broken. You're addicted to chaos. In a world that's constantly screaming for your attention. Calm feels boring. Discipline feels dull. Stillness feels uncomfortable. But here's the truth. If you crave stimulation, you'll never find stability. If you keep reaching for noise, you'll never hear your own wisdom. If you chase highs, you'll never build roots. That's the key. You're addicted to dopamine. Let's break it down. Every scroll, every notification, every video, every sugary snack, every attention hit is a dopamine spike. Dopamine is the brain's reward chemical. And when your brain gets flooded with it too often, it stops appreciating simplicity. That's why you can't focus. That's why stillness feels suffocating. That's why you can't get through a book without reaching for your phone. Your nervous system is wired for noise. But your goals require depth. Your peace requires structure. You don't need another app. You need discipline. You don't need more input. You need inner order. That's the key. Stimulation weakens your inner compass. Here's the real problem. Constant stimulation isn't just wasting time. It's rewiring your brain. It kills focus, patience, emotional regulation, creative thought, long-term vision. When you're constantly stimulated, you lose the ability to sit with your own thoughts. And when you can't sit with yourself, you become a slave to external control. Now every little discomfort feels like a crisis. Every small delay feels like failure. Every moment of boredom feels like torture. But boredom isn't your enemy. It's your gateway to clarity. Because when the noise drops, the truth finally speaks. You just have to be willing to listen. Stability is built through repetition. Let me tell you something the world won't. Stability is not sexy. Stability is not exciting. Stability is not viral. But it's the foundation of everything real. Stable routines, stable thinking, stable energy. That's where emotional control begins. Discipline without distraction. Focus without frenzy. Silence without anxiety. That's where power grows. And the way you get there is through rituals. Simple, repeatable, non-negotiable. Don't wait to feel like it. Build a rhythm your nervous system can rely on. Wake up, move, hydrate, work, reflect, sleep, on repeat. Because what looks boring to the world is building an unshakable core inside you. That's the key. You don't need more. You need less. Here's the shift. Stop chasing more. Start protecting your mental bandwidth. You're not missing opportunity. You're missing clarity because you're drowning in options. You're not uninspired. You're overwhelmed because your mind has no room to breathe. You want emotional stability? Audit your inputs ruthlessly. Ask yourself, what apps, people, and platforms are hijacking my focus? Do I feel energized after this, or depleted? Am I building something, or just consuming? This is your mind. This is your space. Guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. Create stillness with intention. You want to train your nervous system to love calm? You have to schedule it. Here are 5 ways to train for stability. 1. Morning no input window, no phone, no social, no notifications for the first hour, just you, your breath, your priorities. Start the day by leading your mind. Don't lease it to the internet. 2nd movement without music. Go for a walk in silence. Let your thoughts wander. Let your stress process. This isn't about burning calories. It's about burning off mental noise. 3rd deep work block. 1 task, 90 minutes, no tabs, no interruptions. This is the practice of depth over distraction. 4. The dopamine detox day. Once a week, no sugar, no social, no streaming. Let your mind reset, rebalance, realign. 5. Nighttime shutdown ritual. Dim the lights, lower the noise, no screens for the last hour. Prep your system for recovery, not chaos. Stability isn't a feeling, it's a pattern. Build the pattern, and the feeling follows. Boredom is the door to breakthrough. You keep running from boredom. But boredom is a mirror. It shows you what you've been avoiding. It forces you to confront the silence. And in that silence, that's where truth lives. That's where decisions become clear. That's where identity gets forged. Most people distract their way through life. You're here to discipline your way through discomfort. You don't need another hit of novelty. You need structure. You need repetition. You need peace. That's the real flex in this chaotic world. Not how fast you can consume, but how calmly you can focus. Say this daily. I don't chase stimulation. I train for stability. I don't need noise to feel alive. I build peace through structure. I don't fear stillness. I seek it. Because peace is earned, focus is trained, and clarity is protected. You don't need their permission to unplug. You just need your standard to protect your peace. You have a choice. And every time you choose stillness over scrolling, discipline over dopamine, structure over spikes, you're becoming unshakable. That's the key. You've rejected noise. You've rebuilt rhythm. You've reclaimed focus. Now, it's time to rise to your final evolution. The emotional posture of your highest self. Because at every moment, your actions are casting a vote. And the version of you that responds under pressure is the version of you you're becoming. Chapter 10. Respond like the person you want to become. Every moment you react, you reinforce who you are. Every moment you respond, you reinforce who you're becoming. That's the truth most people miss. Your response is not just behavior, it's identity building. Every choice you make is casting a vote, not for a moment, but for a version of you. You become what you repeatedly choose under pressure. That's the key. Who you're becoming is built in micro moments. You don't become disciplined in big dramatic events. You become disciplined when someone disrespects you, and you stay grounded. When life gets chaotic, and you don't lose yourself. When emotions rise, and you respond from who you want to be, not what you feel in the moment. That's how character is built. One decision, one reaction, one moment at a time. You're not reacting anymore. You're rehearsing your future self. Every response is a rep. Every rep shapes your identity. And identity is everything. Your reaction is either a repetition or a rebellion. Every time you snap, shut down, overthink, or blame, you're reinforcing old programming. But every time you pause, breathe, choose the better response, you're breaking the loop. You're rewriting the story. You're taking control. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. You've got two choices in every emotional moment. Repeat the past, rehearse the future. And the more you rehearse the future, the faster you become it. That's the key. Stop letting feelings decide your future. Let's be blunt. Your future doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care if you're tired. It doesn't care if you're anxious. It doesn't care if you're not in the mood. It cares about how you respond. Because how you respond when things don't feel good is what determines the life you get to build. You don't need to feel strong to act strong. You don't need to feel clear to make a clear move. You don't need to wait until you're confident. You just need to cast the right vote. Right now, in this moment, and the next, and the next. That's identity, that's leadership, that's freedom. Your inner question must change. You've been asking the wrong question. You've been asking, how do I feel? The better question is, how would the person I want to become respond right now? Not later. Not next year. Right now. Would they argue or stay calm? Would they scroll or start? Would they blame or own it? Would they explode or breathe? Ask it. Every day, every time. Burn it into your mind. How would the strongest version of me respond? That question is your compass. Use it. Follow it. Let it reshape you. Build a response standard. Stop winging it. Start building a response standard. Here's what that looks like. Your tone stays calm, no matter how loud theirs gets. You pause before replying to a trigger. You reflect before you react. You never send messages you'll have to apologize for. You lead with principle, not pressure. You're not here to match energy. You're here to set the tone. That's emotional maturity. That's personal leadership. It's not about controlling everything. It's about controlling yourself in everything. Stop repeating. Start rehearsing. You've rehearsed anxiety long enough. You've rehearsed anger long enough. You've rehearsed insecurity long enough. It's time to rehearse. Composure, clarity, conviction, calm under pressure, disciplined response over emotional reaction. Your current emotional habits were rehearsed. So build better ones. Don't wait for the storm to train. Train before the storm. So when it hits, your new self is already in place. That's the strategy. That's the difference. The identity ritual. Here's your final practice. Do this every morning, before the world gets loud. Sit, quiet, no phone, no input, just breath. Visualize the strongest version of you, calm, sharp, in control. Ask, what would they do today? How would they move, speak, think? Write one identity action you'll commit to. Say this out loud. I'm not my past. I'm not my feelings. I'm my decisions. Today, I choose to respond like the person I'm becoming. Do that for 30 days. Watch what happens. You don't need to hope for transformation. You build it, one decision at a time. Identity is earned through discipline. Let's finish with this. Your dream life requires a different version of you. Not just a different schedule, a different standard. Not just new goals, new responses. You don't become great by wanting it. You become great by responding like it's already yours. You don't need to earn your future in one big move. You earn it by becoming that person now. In your tone, in your posture, in your pause, in your response. That's the real win. You've done the work. You've faced the feelings. You've broken the loops. You've trained your discipline. You've changed your responses. And now, everything changes. Not because life gets easier, but because you got stronger. Now let's bring it all together. The journey, the principles, the mindset shift, the challenge you've earned. You own your emotions. You own your life. Let's say it plainly. You're not broken. You've just been undisciplined. You're not powerless. You've just been reactive. You're not stuck. You've just been listening to the wrong voice for too long. But now you know the truth. You are not your emotions. You are the master of them. And when you own your emotions, you own your life. That's the key. You've rewritten the code. Let's walk through what you've done. You stopped worshiping feelings. You stopped treating emotions like facts. You reprogrammed your response to discomfort. You stopped chasing stimulation and started building structure. You trained calm. You slowed your reactions. You stopped overthinking and started acting. You faced your triggers. You silenced your pain until it turned to power. You stopped fleeing emotional discomfort and sat in it until it sharpened you. You stopped letting that voice in your head run the show. You stepped into stability. You showed up without motivation. And most of all, You chose to respond like the person you're becoming. That's the transformation. Not some fantasy version of you. The trained, sharpened, disciplined version of you. The version who doesn't get knocked around by life, but leads it. This isn't motivation. This is a new operating system. This isn't hype. This isn't a temporary spark. This isn't a feel-good moment. This is a new way of living. A new emotional operating system. From now on, your feelings don't run your calendar. Your triggers don't choose your words. Your moods don't define your actions. Your past doesn't write your identity. You do. You are in charge. You are the filter. You are the force. This is self-mastery. This is leadership. This is freedom. You are the calm in the chaos. Remember this. Calm is your superpower, and you trained for it. You're no longer pulled into every argument. You're no longer a slave to scrolling, noise, or negativity. You don't explode. You respond. You don't overthink. You act. You don't run. You recalibrate. You walk slower, speak softer, think sharper. You're no longer trying to be seen. You're focused on being solid. Because power isn't loud. Power is composed. Power is precise. Power is calm. Emotions are now your tool, not your trap. You don't suppress your emotions. You leverage them. Fear becomes your compass. Anger becomes your mirror. Doubt becomes your discipline. Sadness becomes your signal. You don't avoid emotion. You translate it. You don't drown in it. You direct it. Because now you understand. Every emotion is energy, and you control where it flows. That's not weakness. That's elite-level strength, and you earned it. Now comes the real challenge. This book is over, but your training is not. This was the foundation, the blueprint. Now the reps begin, because life will still test you, people will still trigger you, discomfort will still knock. That voice in your head will still whisper. But the difference now is you. Now, you pause. Now you breathe. Now you lead. Now you choose the response, not the reaction. Now you own your state, not just survive it. Here's your daily challenge. Every day from now on, do this. Wake up. Set your emotional standard. Say it out loud. Today, I respond with discipline, not emotion. Pick one moment to practice calm under pressure. Look for the trigger. Choose the pause. Deliver the better response. Ask this question 3 times a day. What would the strongest version of me do right now? Track your reps. Journal your responses. Celebrate your wins. Correct your misses. Stay accountable. You don't need a perfect streak. You just need relentless commitment. Make the decision. Here's the final truth. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to regulate your emotions for you. Nobody's going to follow you around and stop you from overreacting. It's all on you. And that's not a burden. That's the most powerful opportunity you've ever been given. You don't need motivation. You don't need applause. You don't need their permission. You just need to make the decision, over and over again. And that decision is this. I master my emotions. I own my state. And because of that, I own my life. Let the world get louder. You get calmer. Let the world get chaotic. You stay clear. Let the world spin. You stay still. Because you trained for this. Because you live for this. Because you are this now. You own your emotions. Now go own your life.